Have you ever pondered whether the words you've spoken throughout your life have built bridges or burned them? Whether the moments of honesty that felt necessary at the time were actually the ones that changed the way people saw you forever? Aging brings wisdom, but it also brings reflection on the choices we've made, the things we've shared, and the words we wish we had held back. If you've ever found yourself looking back with regret, thinking, "I wish I had kept that to myself," know that you are not alone. Life has taught us that not everything needs to be spoken aloud, and some things, when shared too freely, can change relationships, self-perceptions, and even the peace we carry in our hearts. There is immense value in discernment, in knowing when to speak and when silence is the wiser path. Today, let's explore 5 things that in hindsight many elderly individuals regret revealing too openly. These are not about deceit, but about protecting dignity, preserving relationships, and ensuring that as we age, we continue to be seen with respect, admiration, and love. 1. The weight of your deepest regrets. Regret is a quiet companion in the later years of life. It lingers in moments of solitude, in the stillness of the night, in the pauses of conversation when memories surface unbidden. There is a natural desire to speak these regrets aloud, to share them with those closest to us, perhaps in the hope of unburdening ourselves, perhaps seeking reassurance that our missteps were not as damaging as they feel. But there is a fine line between seeking comfort and unintentionally shifting the weight of our regrets onto those we love. When we reveal too much about the choices we wish we had made differently, we risk changing the way our children, grandchildren, and loved ones see their own lives. A father who confesses he regrets prioritizing work over family may, without intending to, make his children question whether their childhood was one of neglect rather than love. A mother who speaks too often of lost dreams may leave her children wondering if they were the obstacles to her happiness rather than the center of it. In our search for closure, we may unintentionally plant seeds of doubt in the hearts of those who have always admired us. Regret, when spoken too freely, has a way of reshaping history. It turns past decisions into painful landmarks instead of stepping stones. It magnifies what went wrong rather than what was learned. But wisdom teaches us that while we cannot rewrite the past, we can control the way we tell our story. We can choose to focus not on the weight of our missteps, but on the resilience they forged. Instead of dwelling on what we wish had been different, we can share the lessons we have gathered along the way. The past cannot be undone, but it also does not have to be relived. There is no shame in keeping certain regrets as private reflections rather than open confessions. In doing so, we allow the next generation to walk forward with confidence rather than carrying the burden of the roads we did not take. The greatest wisdom we can impart is not in recounting our regrets, but in showing that life, even with its imperfections, has always been worth embracing. 2. The full extent of your financial situation. Money is more than numbers on a statement. It carries emotions, expectations, and unspoken power in relationships. Over the years, we have worked, saved, and sacrificed to build stability. But as we grow older, the question arises, how much should we share about our financial situation with those around us? It seems natural to be transparent, to trust our family with the details of our wealth or struggles, but experience teaches that too much disclosure can shift relationships in ways we never intended. When we speak openly about financial hardship, even in passing, our children may begin to shoulder a burden they were never meant to carry. The simple mention of medical bills, a dwindling retirement fund, or rising expenses can plant a quiet worry in their minds. Without us ever asking, they may start making sacrifices, delaying their own retirement, cutting back on personal expenses, feeling obligated to provide for us at the cost of their own peace. What begins as an innocent conversation can evolve into an unspoken weight that alters their sense of security. No parent wishes to be a burden, yet oversharing financial difficulties can make our loved ones feel trapped between their own futures and their responsibility to us. On the other hand, discussing financial success too freely can lead to unintended consequences of a different kind. Money has a way of reshaping how people see one another. When family members know there is wealth, expectations can arise, sometimes subtly, sometimes openly. Assistance that was once a generous gift can become an obligation. Siblings or extended relatives may grow resentful, feeling entitled to a share or assuming their financial choices matter less because there will always be a safety net. The relationships that once thrived on love and respect can become clouded by assumptions, unspoken requests, and disappointments. There is wisdom in discretion, not because we lack trust, but because we value peace. Financial stability, or the lack of it, should never define our relationships. Instead of revealing every detail, we can offer guidance, lessons on responsibility, gratitude, and the importance of financial independence. The greatest gift we can give is not money itself, but the wisdom to manage it well so that love remains the foundation of our relationships, untouched by financial shadows. 3. Your unfiltered opinions about family members. Words have power, especially within a family. A single sentence spoken in frustration or honesty can linger in someone's heart long after we have forgotten saying it. As we age, we see more, understand more, and sometimes feel compelled to voice our observations, especially when it comes to the choices, behaviors, or shortcomings of those we love. But there is a difference between wisdom and judgment, and the way we express our opinions can shape the way we are remembered. It is tempting to believe that honesty, no matter how blunt, is a virtue. If a son has made financial mistakes, if a daughter-in-law's parenting style seems flawed, if a sibling has been unreliable, shouldn't these things be acknowledged? Shouldn't our years of experience grant us the right to say what we see? Yet too often, unfiltered opinions do not lead to understanding. Instead, they create distance, defensiveness, and wounds that are slow to heal. A son who is constantly reminded of his missteps may begin to withdraw, no longer seeking advice or connection. A daughter-in-law who feels scrutinized may quietly build walls between her family and ours. The more we point out faults, the less people feel safe in our presence, and over time, silence replaces what was once open conversation. There is also the unintended ripple effect of our words. A casual remark about one family member can shift the way others see them. A grandchild overhearing criticism of their parent may begin to question their own roots. A sibling who learns of our disappointment may carry a sense of failure rather than the encouragement to improve. What we mean as concern can be received as rejection, and what we see as truth can become a source of lasting division. Restraint is not dishonesty, it is wisdom. Not every opinion needs to be voiced, not every flaw needs to be pointed out. The deepest influence we have is not through critique, but through example. If we wish for family harmony, we must be its foundation. Choosing kindness over criticism, understanding over judgment, allows love to remain at the center of our relationships. In the end, the words left unspoken may be the ones that keep us closest to those who matter most. 4. A constant focus on health ailments. Aging brings an undeniable awareness of the body, its changes, its limits, and at times its betrayals. The aches that once passed quickly now linger. Doctor's appointments become routine, and conversations with friends often revolve around prescriptions, procedures, and prognoses. It is natural to want to share these experiences, especially with family. After all, they love us, they worry about us, and their support brings comfort. But when discussions of health become the centerpiece of every conversation, they can begin to reshape the way we are seen. Not as the strong, wise figures we have always been, but as fragile, fading versions of ourselves. Illness, when spoken of too often, has a way of becoming an identity. We may not notice it happening, but slowly, we are no longer asked about our passions, our thoughts, or our stories. Instead, conversations start with, "How are you feeling?" rather than, "What have you been thinking about?" Family members, though well-meaning, may begin treating us differently, offering unsolicited advice, speaking to us with a careful tone, or making decisions on our behalf out of concern. The independence we spent a lifetime building can start to erode, not because we are incapable, but because we have unknowingly encouraged others to see us primarily through the lens of our ailments. Beyond how we are perceived, there is also the emotional burden our words place on those we love. When our children or grandchildren hear time and again about our struggles, they may feel helpless, as though they should be doing more, fixing more, easing burdens they were never meant to carry. Some may even begin to distance themselves, not out of indifference, but out of a quiet fear of watching someone they love decline. And so, what begins as a need for comfort can unintentionally create isolation. There is wisdom in balance. Our health is important, but it is not all that we are. We are still thinkers, dreamers, storytellers. By shifting our conversations to the joys we find, the memories we cherish, and the wisdom we have gathered, we remind those around us and ourselves that we are more than bodies in decline. We are still very much alive, and that is what should be spoken of most. 5. Your deepest fears about the future. Fear is an unspoken companion of aging. It arrives quietly in the stillness of the night, in the pauses of conversation, in the moments when we realize how much life has changed. The future, once filled with endless possibilities, now feels uncertain. Thoughts creep in of loneliness, of being a burden, of losing independence, of what will happen when we are no longer here. It is natural to want to voice these fears, to share them with those we love, hoping for reassurance or comfort. But when we speak of them too often, we risk casting a shadow over the present, allowing fear to take up space where joy should reside. Our children and grandchildren look to us for strength. They may not say it, but they find comfort in knowing that we, the ones who have guided them through life's storms, are still a steady force. When we constantly express our fears about the future, about being left alone, about our declining abilities, about what may or may not come, we shift the way they see us. Instead of viewing us as wise and resilient, they may begin to see us as fragile, uncertain, and in need of protection. And in their efforts to shield us from our fears, they may start making decisions for us rather than with us, slowly taking away the very independence we fear losing. There is also an emotional burden that comes with sharing too much fear. Our loved ones already carry the weight of their own lives, their own worries. When they hear us voice our anxieties repeatedly, they may feel powerless, torn between their responsibilities and the silent expectation to ease our concerns. Over time, this can lead to exhaustion, distance, and even resentment, not because they don't care, but because they don't know how to make the future feel less daunting for us. Fear, like regret, is a part of life, but it does not have to define it. Instead of speaking about what we dread, we can choose to focus on what we still have. The people who love us, the experiences yet to be had, the moments that remain. We can remind ourselves and those around us that while the future is uncertain, today is here, and today is enough. The greatest gift we can offer is not our fears, but our faith in life itself. The wisdom of silence. As the years pass, we come to realize that wisdom is not only found in the words we share, but also in the ones we choose to withhold. Silence, when embraced with care, is not an absence of truth, but a presence of deeper understanding. Not every thought needs to be voiced, and not every feeling needs to be revealed. Restraint in speech is not a sign of withholding, but a testament to discernment and grace. The things we choose to keep within are not secrets, nor are they burdens. Rather, they are gifts, gifts of peace, dignity, and the preservation of relationships. By choosing our words wisely, we shield our loved ones from unnecessary sorrow, regret, or obligation. We allow them to see us not through the weight of our struggles, fears, or mistakes, but through the strength of our spirit, the kindness in our hearts, and the love we have given freely. Silence holds power. It can soothe wounds, prevent misunderstandings, and nurture respect. It is in moments of quiet reflection that we learn the most about ourselves and others. Words once spoken cannot be undone, but silence, when chosen wisely, carries a quiet wisdom that lingers beyond our presence. In the end, the legacy we leave is not just in what we have said, but in how we have chosen to be remembered, with dignity, love, and the grace of knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.